Welcome to Rad Round Show. I'm your host, Rad Round, the poster child for ADHD. The vibe for today's video is confusion. And the title is, where the hell did donuts come from? Let's get into it, everybody. Welcome. So, how did I get on the thought of donuts and why that would maybe be a good episode? Well, let me explain to you. I drive for a living. I drive all over this state. And in these little towns I pass through, I see donut shops everywhere. Sometimes there's one, sometimes there's up to 5 in a single little town. So my silly little brain, because I have nothing better to do than to just think about nonsense things, is where the heck did donuts come from? I don't think they're original to America, I bet. And then the light turned on, and I thought maybe that would make a good episode. I don't know. Let's get into it. But first, let me tell you a little bit about the start of this new year of 2025. In 2024, I was super stoked to roll into 2025. I was going to go hard, and I'm still going to go hard on YouTube. But I have a 52 episode season planned. I have some short form content to promote the show on all the social medias so that I can get some traffic to the show. And that was my plan. It still is my plan. I just got a little late start. So at the beginning of this year, my very first week, I was sicker than I've probably been in like 5 years, maybe 10 years even. I was sick. It took like 6 days to get over it. On New Year's Eve itself, I was so sick laying out on the couch. I woke up long enough to give my wife a little kiss on the cheek for New Year's, and I went right back to the couch to sleep. I went to work while I was sick, but just did the bare minimum to take care of my customers, and I went right back home. Of course, everybody at work was like sick with the same thing, so it was a pretty wicked thing. I don't know what it was, but it was wicked. I still got a little bit of a cough and a runny nose left over after it, but still feel way better than I did. Then the second week of 2025, my poor sister-in-law and brother-in-law, their legs the rug got pulled right out from underneath them. Their former employer, who they've worked for several years, it's a real estate company, laid off my sister-in-law like 2 months ago. My brother-in-law was still working for him, and he fired him 3 days before Christmas. So I think it was just so he didn't have to pay his Christmas bonus. I don't know, just a theory, but whatever. Then a week after that, about a week and a half after that, rather than give them a chance to pay rent, because their house that they lived in was part of the rental company as well, and that was part of their employment. They got a free place to rent or to stay in, but he didn't give them a chance to, pay the rent. He served them an eviction notice, and that was that. So they had no place to go, and they had a little bit of money in the bank, but like you can't get a rent a place when you don't have a job or anything. So we were able to return a favor that they once did for us when we first came to Arkansas. My brother and sister-in-law let us live with them for like 10 months, and that was awesome. While we were trying to get established here in Arkansas, I had a job, but we were trying to find a house, find a location with a good school that was close enough to work, and they let us live with them for 10 months. So it feels good to return the favor. They're great people. I know everything's going to work out for them, and we're happy to help them. So then I had one more big scare before I got to this episode. Last Sunday, they banned TikTok. The former president, the Congress, and everybody else who makes laws in our land banned TikTok. Not a big deal to me. I don't do TikTok. I do have a TikTok account. I was maybe going to use it to promote the Rad Randall Show, but as of right now, I don't use it for anything. That wasn't the problem. The problem was they really didn't ban TikTok. They banned the parent company, ByteDance, and all the apps that are under ByteDance. One of them happened to be CapCut. CapCut is the very software I use to edit every single YouTube video I've ever done. Not just the 5 or 6, 7, I don't know how many episodes I have on here, but all my other channels I use CapCut for. I pay for CapCut Pro. It's the only editing program that I have. I don't mess with any other edit programs. It's quick, it's easy, it's user-friendly, it's got great AI tools. I can't complain. So that's why I pay for the Pro version of it. And then to see that when we got the new president in, he kind of, I don't know, executive ordered to stop the banning of TikTok for like 90 days to see if we can negotiate something. I don't know if that means American company acquire it. I don't know. But they didn't immediately. They brought TikTok back in like 14 hours, but they didn't bring back the other apps. One, mainly CapCut. And I was freaking out a little bit yesterday until I found out that it was restored by afternoon. No problem. Here we are. We're good. So, all things aside, we can finally give you the episode I've been planning to give you for a couple weeks now. So, donuts. Where the hell did they come from? Let's go. All right. So, from my research, it told me that that donuts are originally Dutch from the Netherlands. Although there's a lot of lore around where the heck the origin of donuts actually came from. But this is where most of my research pointed me to. They weren't called donuts at first. They were called oily cakes, they were just fried balls of dough fried in oil. That's all they were. The lore of where the first donut got its hole was supposedly aboard ship captain. But with further research, I read that his wife, Elizabeth Gregory, him being Hanson Gregory, the one they give all the credit to, but her being Elizabeth Gregory was actually the first one to create the donut hole. As she would put the oily cake in, she would not let the batter go all the way in the middle so that when her husband and the shipmates got the donuts on the ship for their little snacks, she also put nuts in the middle of it so they had a place to put their nuts, so they had a double snack. His lore, where he supposedly created the donut hole, was it's not that crazy. I'm leading it on like it's funny, but he was a boat captain. He was steering his ship. He wanted to save his snack for later. He took the oily cake, threw it on there's little handles on the for the steering of a ship, and he threw it on, and boom, there's a hole in the oily cake. Hence, the donut hole was created. Who knows? There's probably other lore more than that, but my research told me that's where it came from. Moving on. The name donut obviously didn't come, it was originally oily cake, but the name donut was actually an American novelist writer named Washington Irvine, wrote a book called History of New York, Beginning of the World, The End of the Dutch Dynasty. And in that book, he calls, I guess, an oily cake a donut. And that's where we got the name donut from. So that's pretty interesting, I guess. Donuts gained their popularity in America in World War I. The soldiers would eat them in the trenches. The women who would make and bring these donuts to the front lines were called donut dollies. So, and they were part of the American Red Cross. These were really brave women. In 1920, the first donut shop was opened in New York City by Adolf Levet from Russia, who also invented the first donut machine. Very interesting. Everything real good comes from New York, especially when it comes to food, it seems. Of course, that was like the hub for immigrants, that's where we all got our start, generations ago. The two biggest donut companies were, of course, Krispy Kremes and Dunkin' Donuts. I personally don't like either one. After when I was growing up, fighting a hangover in the morning after a night of partying, we would always go to a donut shop, the same one called Shipley's Donuts. It's a pretty big chain here in the South. And they have more than donuts. They have things called kolaches. I would get a couple donuts and a couple kolaches and soak up all that poison from the night before. I'd feel better. We all feel better. Me and my friends would feel better, and we go, hang out for the day. I don't know, went to the mall, whatever we were up to, and then do it all over again. Do the partying all over again the next night. Big surprise. Typical teenager. The founder of Krispy Kreme Donuts is Vernon Rudolph. The founder of Dunkin' Donuts was William Rosenberg. Sorry about that. Technically, Vernon Rudolph, in my opinion, stole the idea of Krispy Kremes from his uncle, Ishmael Armstrong, and capitalized on it. Don't hate the player, hate the game. So, maybe that's the wrong way of looking at it, but Ishmael was the one who started the company, and then he hired his nephew to go and help promote the donut shop. And then at some point, his nephew's like, "Screw this, man! We're making good money doing this. We're just gonna do our own here." So he took all his things, all the recipes, the ideas for the recipes and ingredients that he learned from working under his uncle, and started his own Krispy Kreme's donut shop. I'm sure they worked it out in the end because they give credit to Vernon Rudolph in the end, and so they must have worked it out. It doesn't seem like there was any ill will in the end, but like I said, that's just my opinion. Interestingly enough, the first spelling of donuts, as we know it today, was started by Dunkin' Donuts in the 1950s. It was a new, cool, hip way to spell donuts. Hence the way, instead of donuts, it's do nuts. And, it was just catchy on the billboard, like, oh, do nuts, what's that? Donuts. So, just a marketing ploy. That's why they're spelled the way they are today. So, that being said, where I found my interest the most in the history of donuts coming to America was with the women on the front that went to the front lines. Straight up, I'm a fan of women, and women are the reason why we still have donuts in America, because of their sheer determination to give the soldiers on the front lines these donuts, even though they were told not to by their leaders because it was too dangerous. There was a woman in particular that was kind of the leader of the donut dollies, and the women always rallied behind her, even when she was told not to bring the donuts to the front line. I wish I could find her name. I totally didn't put it in here, but it was a woman. And interestingly enough, she got promoted because of her bravery to like a really high rank, which was really cool. It worked out for them. Women kick ass. I'm sorry, but they do. I'm a huge fan of women. I have 5 daughters. I have a super strong, amazing wife. All the women in my life are strong, amazing women. I'm a super fan of women. Sorry. Can't help it. I love them. Women are what make the world go round. So that being said, that is the crazy, unorthodox Rad Randall version of the history of donuts. So I hope you enjoyed. Oh, by the way, I don't know if I explained it yet, but my crazy get up today is because it is colder than heck here in Arkansas right now. The South at this point is being hit like you wouldn't believe. There is snow in places in Florida that have never seen snow. And I have a little YouTube studio I built out of an old little building with wheels that I gutted out and turned into my YouTube studio. Man, the little air conditioner does great in the winter, summertime. The little heater does great most of the time when it's like 28 to 32 degrees. But when it's 15 degrees, 14 degrees, no, it don't hold up. So I tried to throw together an outfit that still matched the aesthetic of the Rad Randall show. But, you know, it's a little janky, but it's what I got. I'm not going to freeze here and be like, the whole time we be shooting this episode, because I'm going to do my 52 episodes. You better believe it. Anyway. Oh, I didn't get my cards. Well, nonetheless, I have nothing to throw. I'll throw my old hacky stack. Peace. I'm out of here. We'll see you on the next one, everybody.